Okay, so the idea behind the campaign is really to make clear to our young people living abroad who owe student loans how serious the situation is that the country is facing. The hit to our economy is actually bigger when you take into account the size of the population than the hit to Japan's economy of their earthquake and tsunami, and that's really quite an astounding fact, isn't it? So we're talking here of maybe $15 billion costs for New Zealand at the government's estimate, but some estimates have put it much higher, possibly $20 or $30 billion. So that's such a significant fraction of our GDP that it's going to be something that's going to affect us for years to come. So here's the opportunity. We've got about 85,000 students living abroad who owe student loans, and most of them are paying them off, but there's about 35,000 who are unable to or choosing not to pay off them. Haven't made any repayments, that's right. And so that's a significant opportunity that's arisen for them now to think, well, maybe instead of thinking this as a kind of a burden, why don't I link up with the HEKE campaign, become a heroic, educated Kiwi expatriate, and then I'm doing something to help the country, and then instead of it being something that's a negative, it becomes a positive, because people in New Zealand will notice that, and we'll talk about it, and we'll say, hey, you remember that time when those fantastic young people abroad came to the aid of the country and paid back that money? It was $1 billion came in. Wasn't that incredible, the way we talk about the students in Christchurch who got out there with their wheelbarrows and their shovels, and so people say, hey, I used to say negative things about students, but I won't anymore because those young people are doing fantastic things and how great and all that. So I'm quite interested in the idea of young people empowered by social media to communicate effectively, and then to sort of get galvanised around some noble cause, if you like, and to make things happen. And you can see that happening in various places in the world with young people driving this. So to me, this is the big issue of our time. I mean, Christchurch is huge, and what's happened to New Zealand since February the 22nd is a complete change in all sorts of priorities and all sorts of ways we're going to think and all sorts of ways we're going to act. And it's hard for us, but there are opportunities there too.